All right, so again, to start today's practice, lie on to your back. Stretch your arms down. Give yourself about 5 breaths to totally release here into the mat. I usually wiggle my fingers and toes just a bit and say, relax. Focus on the breath. Notice how you're coming to practice. Okay, and then we stretch the arms overhead. And really still to fill up here. They call this one the good morning stretch. It made me yawn. Fingertips to the toes. Active tension in the body. And then pull the right knee into the chest. And give it a good squeeze down towards the belly. Okay, no pushing here. Just kind of realize where your start is. Straighten the right leg up towards the sky. Even without using the hands to pull. Like, where is that straight leg for you? Is it up? Is it a little more down and forward? Just like, where is that natural opening this morning? And then do grab behind the thigh or behind the calf, just not behind the knee. And a little more effort. Release the right leg. Do this on the left side. Pull the left knee in and give it a pretty tough squeeze in towards the chest and belly. Full flexion there. Straighten the left leg. Again, where does it naturally go in that active range of motion? Using the power of the leg, but not the hands. And then give it a little helping hand. Hold behind the thigh or behind the calf. A few steady breaths. So this month I've taken on the mantra, let the hip vibes flow. A little play on words, but it does indicate we'll have a lot of focus in the hips for their strength, their stability, and also the creativity that comes through mind and body when we have more flow and ease in the hips. Reach the arms back overhead. One more time, hug both knees into the chest. And take both knees over to the right side. Spinal twist here. Extend the arms out in a T shape. Anytime you roll out your mat and have a couple of minutes before class starts, I recommend doing these few exercises. Take the legs over to the left side. I just find it always readies the body, makes it a little easier in the movement of the lunges. In particular, when I've had just a few minutes heavy down on the mat first. Okay, we'll come back to the center. Roll yourself up to a seated position. And then all the way over to all fours. Hands under the shoulders, knees underneath the line of the hips. do cat and cow. Go as slow or as quick. Make the movement run off course as much as you want, meaning maybe a little bit more side to side or circular as well as the up and down. Just kind of explore here. And then back to a neutral spine. Start by turning the hands out to the side. So fingers face out to the side with the thumb straight ahead to the front of the mat. And just kind of pause there for a moment. Notice how that feels within wrist, forearms, shoulders. And then either stay there or turn 90 degrees more so that your fingers face back towards your knees and the thumbs out to the side. Now here, still keep the hands themselves as wide as the shoulders. And I like to rock just ever so slightly back and forth. If this is too intense, it's too intense. We're not looking for pain. Go back to hands out to the side or even our typical position, fingers straight ahead. This can be a really nice opening though through the forearms and wrist. If you spend a lot of the shoulder rounded position typing away during the day, this is a really great relief to that. Okay, and then just turn the hands back around so the fingers face forward and stretch to downward facing dog. Because of course the body is all connected, as much as I say there'll be a hip focus this month, it will surely be full body movement throughout the practices, and it might even seem like sometimes we're just working on our shoulders or just working lower in the feet, but it's that chain that connects and binds it all. Here in downward facing dog, actively press the hands down and forward, lift the hips up nice and high. Think thighs back, heels down. And come forward to plank pose. Lie flat down onto the belly. Cobra, press into the hands and feet, feel the chest up. Child's pose, push the hips back to the heels. Walk both hands over towards the right side. Bring the hands across the center and over to the left side. And then back to the middle. Come to plank, be it on your knees or on the toes, and add in 2 more push-ups. I guess those are the first 2 for today, right? And then flat down on the belly. Reach the hands back behind you, palms to the sky. Lift everything that you can up away from the mat. Shalabhasana, locust pose here. Lower it down, do either the exact same thing or interlace the hands behind your back and lift again. Lower down. Press the downward facing dog. And step your right foot forward to a low lunge. Take a few steps until you find your full stride. And lift the right arm up into the twisted low lunge. Lower the right hand down, bring both hands to your front thigh. Bend the back knee for a moment. It's hovering right above the ground. And think tailbone down as you lift your torso straight up and down. So getting those different motions, tailbone down versus out, we'll say. And lift the arms up to the sky. Keeping the pelvis as is. Straighten the left leg again as much as possible. Big full opening through the left hip flexor there, the front of the thigh. Lower the left knee now all the way down to the ground. And a big twist, left elbow towards the outside of the right thigh. Palms together. Point the right elbow up towards the sky as much as possible. So the more that you're folded down and over the right thigh, the more the right elbow will face up towards the sky. Untwist. Lower the hands down, step back to plank. Hold plank or add a push-up. And then downward facing dog. We're going pretty slow today. Stay here, breathe here. Okay, second side, step the left foot through. Again, get it there on one step or several. Keep going until you get your full stride. Add in the twist, left hand high. Lower the left hand. Okay, noticing, again here, head is forward, hips tilted, butt out. And then we change that, hands to the front thigh, bend the back knee, butt down, head up. Stretch the arms and then stretch the right leg straight. Big squeeze in the glute of the back leg there to help maintain tailbone, shoulders, head on top of one another. And then right knee goes down to the ground. So as you get into this twist, if you lay the torso on to the leg and let the hips lift a little bit more up and back again, it can get easier to find a little bit more depth. Right elbow across the left thigh, palms together. Left elbow pointed up to the sky as much as works. Take in your breath. And then untwist. Set hands down, lift up the back knee and step it all the way back into plank. Little sneeze from my doggy. Lower it down to the mat. Cobra, peel the chest up. Push back to child's pose for a moment. And then sit on your heels, interlace the hands, flip the palms, and lift. Push through your thumb and your first finger, a little more than the rest of the hand. Release. Change to a forward fold at the back end of your mat. Come up onto your feet. Fold over the legs. Take the feet a little wider than your hips. Bend your knees, ragdoll pose. Hold on to the elbows and do a little sway here. Let out the breath. Make your way all the way up to standing. Roll the shoulders up, back, and down a couple of times. Stretch the arms to the sky. Hold on to your left wrist and reach over towards the right side. Come back to the center. Hold on to your right wrist. Stretch over to the left side. And come back to the middle. We're going to take the hands to the hips and find the little bony points that stick out, your anterior hip points. They'll help us with direction. If you bend both knees, take a giant step forward into your high lunge and keep both of those hip points faced towards the front end of your mat. And then just a couple of times, notice here, if you bend over, what happens? And you come back up, show off the hip points a little bit, and then they kind of get buried into the body. If you hinge forward, and then come back up. So one more time, we're going to hinge forward. We want to keep the hip points more up towards the belly, if you will. At the same time, shift your weight into the right leg. And do warrior 3. Extend the arms forward and lift the left leg off of the mat. Now, can you keep those hip points faced down towards the ground as if they're moving more towards the belly, even as you extend the right leg straighter? Bring the hands back to your waist, 2 feet to the mat. Stand up, lift the arms to the sky, wrap the right elbow under the right arm, hold on to your palms, bend both knees, sit into your thighs, so chair pose in the legs, eagle pose in the arms. This is different, my friends, but I think it works better for balance. Wrap your left leg on top for eagle pose. And then shoot your left leg back behind you for warrior 3. Stand again on 2 feet. Unwrap the arms, send them up to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Step back to plank. Lower flat down to the mat. Peel the chest up for cobra. And go back to downward facing dog and stay there. Walk your hands to your feet. Hands to your hips. Press down through your feet. Come all the way up to standing. With the hands still finding those hip points. Step the left foot forward. Square the hips to the front. Keep them that way. And play with what happens as you go forward in the torso and then back up. It's working with the play of balance as well, right? Forward. Tailbone shoots back. Back upright. Tailbone shoots more down. Hips stay square. Do it one more time. Lean forward over your left thigh. And I'm literally supporting a lot of the upper body weight onto my left leg. And then kind of hop the right leg in. It's like a runner's stance there. Lift the right leg off of the ground. Extend the arms out in front of you. Warrior 3. Variations would be to keep the right toes down, the hands at the waist the whole time. Go towards a straighter left leg as holds. And then step 2 feet to the front end of the mat together. Lift the arms up to the sky. Wrap the left elbow under the right. Hold on to the hands, so eagle arms. Should be loading the same heavy standing leg here again. Bend the knees, sit into the thighs. So now right the right leg on top of the left. Shoot it back behind you, warrior 3 again with eagle arms. Chair pose, 2 feet to the ground. Lift the torso, unwrap the arms, stand all the way up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Step back to plank. Lower to your mat. Lift the chest, cobra. And downward facing dog. Okay, we're going to start left leg high first here. Lift the left leg into the air, 3-legged dog. Pull the knee in towards the chest, hover forward in your plank, and go up and back. Now bring the knee more towards the left elbow, and up and back, and towards the right elbow. So that should bring your shoulders forward or right on top of the wrist each time, up and back. Step the left foot all the way through. Spin the back heel down and do warrior 2. Open up to the side, long length of your mat. Nice, look out over the front fingertips. Get to work from this open hip variation now. Straighten the front leg. Hinge forward, so that's, again, that more butt out or tailbone towards the towards the back leg. Not making all my words make sense. Left hand down, right arm up. Triangle pose. From triangle, rebend the left knee, the front leg. Pop your elbow up to the front thigh. Side angle pose, extend the top arm long overhead. Nicely done. Lower both hands around the front foot. Step back to plank. I've got one more thing for you here. Keep the left hand down, stack the ankles or be on the knees, side plank. And then can you step your right foot forward like a kickstand and push into the right foot as you lift the hips? Should feel a lot happening in that outer right hip, the IT band there. And then 2 hands to the mat. Hold plank. You can add in a vinyasa flow here if you'd like. Up to you. And then everyone back to downward facing dog. This time, right leg up into the air, 3-legged dog. Hover, knee to chest, and forward. Right leg up and back. And take it to your right elbow, up and back. Take it to your left elbow, up and back. And step the right foot all the way through. Get the length first. Change to warrior two. Spin the back heel down, line up heel to the middle of the back foot. A little bit more space. You can line up heel to heel. Extend the arms in either direction. Gaze out over the front fingertips. What I was trying to get at before is this, like, if we find the hips are fully open, square to the long side of the mat, and we want to keep that as we transition to triangle pose, but of course it tilts. Right hip goes more down, left hip more up towards the sky. Change to triangle pose. And then from triangle pose, bend the right knee, pop the right elbow up, and extend the left arm overhead. Look down at your foot, place the hands, step back to plank, and then we've got that last side plank, so it's right hand, outer edge of the right foot, stack at the ankles. So if you're going knee down variation, it can be the right knee down, and that even works as we step the left foot forward and try to lift the hips a little bit more to get into the IT band variation of side plank. A lot of times, if you were down on the bottom knee, once you have that kickstand leg, you can extend it back. Full plank. Hold your plank or add another flow. And again, everyone stretch back to downward facing dog. Give yourself several long breaths in down dog. From down dog, look towards your hands. Okay, as safely but as smoothly as possible. We're going to get from here into boat pose. That's sitting on your butt with your arms and legs extended. I'm going to take a little hop to sit down and extend. Give it a go. Boat pose. How can you get from down dog to boat pose? Somewhat smoothly, and then stretch that boat out, more like a canoe shape. So you're hovering maybe a foot above the ground on either side, and lay all the way down. Stretch the arms overhead. Back to where we started this whole gig today. Pull the right knee into your chest. Without use of the hands to help, stretch the leg up. Voila, I hope that feels a little different, more easeful than when you started, if you can remember. And then you can give it that extra love, hands behind the calf or thigh. Keep the kneecap lifted, the quad muscles engaged so that we get a nice reflexive stretch along the hamstrings and into the calf. All right, let's lift our head and shoulders off of the mat. So we're doing a crunch in the upper body. Can that allow you to catch first two fingers and thumb around your big toe? Do that with a bent leg or a straight leg. Once you have hold of your foot or toe, lower the shoulders, the head back down to the mat. And then extend the leg out to the side. Maybe it can go straighter there. Notice what's happening in the left leg. And try to extend, even point out to the toes to keep mind's eye still in that bottom leg as well. Okay, you can take the right leg back up towards the sky, see where it will go, and release. Good. Let's do it on the second side. Pull the left knee in. And that first stretch is without the help of the hands, just as straight as it'll go. And it's wherever the line is. Sometimes it's hamstrings that kind of stop the movement. Sometimes it's too much tightness in the hip flexor. So we're going to kind of find where does that start for you. And then helping hand. So for me, when I add the hands behind the thigh, it gives my hip flexor a little bit of a break. And then I can find a little bit more stretch in the hamstring safely. And this is a pretty intense stretch. If I'm going on a 0 to 10 scale, with 10 being right the tip top of my edge, I'm trying to get towards like a 7 or an 8 here in terms of the intensity level. Okay, and then lift the head and shoulders, maybe bend the left knee so that you can try to connect. Hold on, the outside of the foot hold works, or the big toe hold. And then head and shoulders go back down. And extend the leg more out to the side, maybe even straighter as you do so because we've changed the angle. If you're like me, I've got my stairwell here that my foot is right against. If you have a wall or something to press into, that can really help to stabilize and extend. And the tough part is getting it back up. Left leg towards the sky. And then just let it lower back down. Take the soles of the feet to the mat now, as wide as your yoga mat. I like to do like goddess pose in the arms, or goal post, bend at the elbows here, just out to the side. Okay, the feet stay as wide as the mat, and then let both knees go over towards the right side. I will tell y'all that I kind of selfishly picked hips focus for this month because I tweaked my left knee somehow last month. And when I tweak my knees, I work on my hips. Already with a few classes in the bag, I'm starting to feel a little bit better. I couldn't even do this pose. It would be too much pressure on the knee. The knees can always stay higher if that's the case for you. It's getting there. Now, if you're feeling good here and you'd like even a little bit more, place the right heel on top of the outer left thigh, and that extra sense of weightiness might bring the left thigh even closer to the ground. I'm not ready for that, but maybe you are. And then we'll gently bring the knees back across the center and over to the second side. Lay both knees down. Lie both knees down to the left. And again, left heel can come onto the front of the right thigh. Kind of give it a little more weightiness down. It's a really awesome opening and stretch. Iliopsoas. Wraps from our low back around the hip to the inner thigh. And then we'll let the left leg come back down if it's on top and bring the knees back to the center. Heel toe the feet together and then let the knees go out to the side in a supine butterfly pose. Arms just down by the side now. Okay, we're gonna get a little bit of abdominal action in here. Instead of arms down by your side on the ground, just lift them up towards the sky. And I want you to try to make my knees touch the wrist and then back down. And we'll do that a couple more times. Knees to the wrist or elbows, something like that. And down. And then try to just hover the feet rather than letting them touch down. In and out here. The in and out is just the legs. Do this one more time. Hold in and change to happy baby. Hold on to your feet and then straight up to the sky. Eagle legs. Wrap the right leg over the left. Squeeze the ankles closer to each other. Wrap the right arm under the left. And then crunch up. Try to make the elbows and the knees touch. And open up. Do this a few times. Touch the knees and elbows. And open. Touch. And open. Touch. And open. Wrap the left leg on top. Left arm on bottom. Eagle crunches on the second side. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Unwrap, bring it all back to happy baby. Track happy baby back to butterfly legs on the ground. You're going to rock and roll yourself to a seated position. You're still in Baddha Konasana, and the legs, soles of the feet together, knees out to the side. Fold over a bit. Okay, final little work today. Stretch the legs straight out in front. Seated forward fold. From that seated forward fold, can you pick up your right leg using just its range, set it out to the side and down, and stay folded over the extended leg. Then we're going to play with that on the other side. It has to come back in, and then you lift up and out. Really good work and strengthen the hip flexor here. And then we're going to come back in with those lifts. Okay, this time you're going to try to go into a straddle position. I'm going to use my hands to help, but I'm going to come up, flare the legs out at the same time, and then back down towards the forearms. We're getting some stretch, of course, here. But I'm doing this as much for the strength stability work in the hips. Bring the legs back together and forward fold. For fun, if you want to try that one more time, go for it. Out and then back in. And the goal is to not use too much momentum. All right, we're gonna come all the way back down. That was fun, right? Back down to our back, hug the knees in one last time. Take the hands out to the T shape, knees stay together. Fold them over towards the right. Again, we saw this in the beginning of class. Seems like such a simple movement. I always want to just really groan and complain when I do this at the beginning of class, though. And at the end, it magically feels a lot more accessible and doable. Check it out for yourself. Go to the second side. My goal when I come to the yoga mat is super simple. I always want me, you, us to feel good and better as we practice, and especially better than we did when we started, when we walk off of that mat. Bring it back into the center. And now is your time for Shavasana. Extend the arms and legs. Stay here on your back. If you prefer to sit up or change in a different way, that's good too. Take a quick body scan. How you feeling? How you doing? Can you send breath and tension, mindset to any last bits of crankiness in the body? Let that intention stay with you throughout this day, throughout this week. From that restful position, take your time to come back to a seated position. Bow into yourself, bring the palms together. Give full gratitude and thanks for the ability to practice. We'll close in the sound Om. As ever, you're welcome to sing along, listen, or tune it out. Empty the breath. Take a deep breath in. Thank you. Namaste.